Hi, Dr. Heather here from Wellspring Chiropractic Lifestyle Center. Today we're talking about sleep. The vast majority of Americans are sleep deprived, chronically so, and it's leading to chronic overtiredness that's happening. We want to be shooting for 7 hours of sleep or more per night. And because we're not hitting that, right, it's causing lots of health issues. And in fact, sleep deprivation is the most valid predictor of obesity and chronic illness. So getting more than 7 hours of sleep per night actually is linked to longevity. What's happening when we are sleeping? It's so important because our brain actually needs to clear through and clean out toxins. So our brain cells actually shrink when we sleep so that we can have the fluid bathe those cells and clear out the toxins. And that's why chronic sleep deprivation is linked to cognitive impairment, trouble with memory, but also trouble with motor performance, moving your body, and then also linked to higher levels of inflammation and high cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. And that then links it to pretty much all chronic illnesses. Now, when we think about our sleep, how did it develop? 40,000 years ago, when everything was set, our ancestors would have been out during the day doing what they needed to do to get food and shelter. But when the sun went down, it was dangerous out there in the dark. And so they would head into the cave with their mate, call it a day, and they'd just go right to sleep. And so in our modern day, we have adopted a nocturnal lifestyle where when the sun goes down, that's just a signal for the second half of your day. And as a result, the use of devices and screens, all that blue light, it triggers our brain to think it's still daylight. And so we just keep going and going and going. And when we put together the combination of chronic stress and chronic sleep deprivation, that actually just heightens the cortisol levels or the stress hormones in our body. So what are the best practices around sleep? Going to bed early is actually a best practice because there's a certain time of the day, or time of the night rather, that we want to be deeply asleep. And that is from 10:30 for the next 4 hours or so. So that means we have to be in bed by 10 p.m. And so that means like settling down before that. We also want to have an E-fast, which means no screens 30 minutes at least before you go to bed. Now, going for that 7 hours is important because we have to have sleep cycles that happen during the night where we have very deep levels of sleep, and that's when the most rest and repair happens in our bodies. So that is key. And so therefore, if you wake up a lot or you're not sleeping soundly, that can interfere with the sleep cycle. So even though you're in the bed for 7 or 8 hours, you may not be getting that deep sleep that you need. Another best practice is naps. A power nap is actually a very powerful strategy to use, and it can really refresh you, get your mind working better again, and drop cortisol levels, rebooting your hormones at the same time. Another best practice is to make sure you have a sleep sanctuary. Make sure that there are no other lights on in the room. That means no little clock radio light or no little screen on the side. And remember the tone of what you're thinking about before you go to sleep. So watch out for those Netflix series. Watch out for that angry commentator on your favorite news show, right? And make sure no arguing before bed, right? Social insomnia is directly related to emotional stress. And so we want to be cognizant of that. So as you're ending your day, choose your thoughts, right? Maybe you want to read or pray or meditate or reflect on what was great that happened for the day. And what are the things you're excited about to anticipate for the next day? All right, that's your homework. And so start right now, start tonight. Go to bed early tonight. And if you struggle with that, 15 minutes earlier is all I'm going to recommend just for 21 days in a row. That sets the habit. Once you've got 15 minutes earlier, you go the next 21 days, another 15 minutes earlier, until over time you can actually hit what your goals are so that you're getting that deep sleep that you need. Deep sleep. It's linked to longevity. So go for it.